Hi everyone, this is Dave from Geekanoids, and we should be live on YouTube now for the Samsung Galaxy S4 preview. There was a few glitches at the beginning of the broadcast. I'm actually using the new live control panel that YouTube have put out for us all to enjoy, and I'm really excited to bring you my Galaxy S4 review. Now, before I start things off, I do want to just let you know that this particular video is sponsored by Vanguard. Now, Vanguard make a whole host of camera bags, tripods, accessories, and they really are very high quality. I've used Vanguard products for many years myself. All of my tripods are Vanguard tripods, and I can highly recommend that you check them out. If you want to check out their website, visit vanguardworld.com. Now, I should also mention that the Galaxy S4 has been supplied to me for this review by Carphone Warehouse. So big thank you to Carphone Warehouse for supplying me the Samsung Galaxy S4. Really enjoyed my week with it, and I've been using this for a whole week, so I think I'm very qualified to sort of show you some of the features and also give you my opinion about how it feels and how it's been performing. So without further ado, let us take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S4. So this is it. This is the Samsung Galaxy S4, and it is a brilliant device. It's actually surpassed a lot of my expectations of the device, purely because I primarily use an iPhone, and moving over to Android devices, they really do have to impress me to really stand a chance of sort of becoming my daily phone. Now, I want to cover off the specifications, the size, and how it feels first of all. So let's take a look at this device. Let me just turn this screen off. I want to show you like the physical dimensions of it first of all. It's really nicely made. This is a side view of the Galaxy S4. Very nice looking. And then if we move around onto the back, we've got a 13 megapixel camera on the back of the device, and the camera performs extremely well too. I will be showing you the camera application a little bit further on during this broadcast, and it does perform extremely well, especially for video. The video has been very good indeed. I'm just going to move around onto this side. This is the volume rocker on this side of the device, and then on the bottom we've got the normal sort of ports that you'd expect, and then on the top we've got the 3.5mm audio jack. So a very nice piece of hardware. So let me just pop this back down. I just want to go back to my control room because I need some feedback from you guys and girls to let me know whether you can hear the broadcast loud and clear, whether it's coming through to you with good quality audio and video. Just some initial feedback from you would be very helpful. Assuming you can hear me, let's move back to talking a little bit more about the Galaxy S4. The actual size and how it feels. Well, I've got an iPhone 5 here, so I'm going to show you a comparison between the size of the Galaxy S4 and also the iPhone 5. So let's put these side by side. So you can see that that is quite a size difference, both in the screen real estate and also the physical dimensions of the devices. Now, having said that, the Galaxy S4 does not feel too big in the hand. It really doesn't. This elongated screen size is quite difficult for some people to get used to. It is very manageable. You can sort of reach thumb to corner to corner with your thumb very easily. With the Galaxy S4 you do struggle corner to corner a little bit, but it isn't too big. It's not uncomfortable to use by any means. How it actually feels in the hand is a personal thing, and for me, holding this in my hand, it does feel very comfortable indeed. The actual quality of the materials that Samsung used has come under some sort of attack from people saying it is primarily plastic, and yes, it is primarily plastic, but with the Samsung Galaxy S3 being so successful, did they really need to change the materials used too much? I don't think so. I think they made the right choice in staying with this. And I think they made some very subtle improvements as well. The finish to the plastic on the back I think is a big improvement. The back also feels thicker as well. And also this rim around the outside of the phone, although this is still plastic, it does have more of a metallic feel to it, and it just feels a bit more solidly made. It just overall feels a nicer quality device. So my initial impressions of this on day one was, wow, look at the screen. I mean, the screen is absolutely amazing. 1920 by 1080 pixels. Now, I'm not sure that you'll be able to see this very well on YouTube, although you should be getting an HD feed of this, but the actual clarity of the text and the crispness and the overall quality of the screen is just absolutely amazing. It is a very good screen. You will not be disappointed on that front. The speed, well, it's a quad-core processor. It really does sort of fly. There is also an octo-core version of this, but this particular one's quad-core. And it's got all the normal things you'd expect from a smartphone for 2013. That high-res screen, 13 megapixel camera, absolutely blazing speed, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of storage, and then you can also expand that with a micro SD card as well. So spec-wise, it's right up there with all of the latest 2013 phones. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about call quality. The call quality on the Samsung Galaxy S4 is really good, and I've been using this as my sort of daily phone for a week now, and I can really say that I've not had any issues with it at all. The actual speaker quality on the sort of earpiece at the top here, very, very good indeed. The quality of the microphone down the bottom picks up my voice nice and loud and clear. And also the quality of the little speaker for sort of using it for sort of loudspeaker calls or speakerphone calls, very, very good as well. There's just been nothing that I've had to say negative about this in my sort of week's use with it. And then the app selection, of course, a lot of the apps that are available on iOS are of course available on Google Android now, so you're really not going to have any issues finding the apps that you need on this platform. Battery life. Let's talk about battery life. Now, battery life is very, very important. And one of the good things that Samsung did with this is they kept it with a removable back. Let me just pop this back off. So in here, you've got a 2600 milliamp or 2500 milliamp hour battery. And it really does keep the phone running nicely. I've been using this medium to heavy use, day in, day out, for a week. And at the end of each day, I've had between 25 and 40% battery life left. So to use this, sort of really use it properly with sort of playing apps, using email, using Twitter, using Instagram, taking a few photos, making calls, to use that all day and then be left with a minimum over my testing period of 25% battery life is very impressive indeed. I think the fact that you can swap out the battery if you need to, so you have got that user replaceable battery, means you can charge a spare one and you can swap it out if you run out of juice halfway through the day. But I don't see you doing that, not unless you're just purely watching videos on it non-stop. Then you might run that battery out a lot quicker than I did. So I've been impressed with battery life. This has exceeded my battery life how I've experienced battery life on my iPhone. This iPhone gets me through a whole day just about, but I do have to be careful sometimes in how I use it. With this, I haven't been careful at all, and it has lasted me a whole day, so really no issue at all. Now, before I start answering some of your questions, and there are going to be natural breaks throughout this broadcast where I'll answer some of your questions, I just want to talk to you about speed. And I did run, let me just find the app on here. I did run Geekbench on here previously. I just want to run it again during this broadcast so you get a feel for just how good this mobile phone is. Now, speed is all within the daily use of it. If you're going to be playing games, you're going to notice maybe a faster phone against a slower phone, but day-to-day use, you're not really going to notice any lag on this. For things like emails, browsing the internet, watching videos, it's more than capable. But I do know that some of you like to know what sort of numbers these produce. So I'm running a Geekbench 2 benchmark just for you to have a look at. I have done a video about this as well on the Geekanoids channel, so please do check that out and subscribe to the Geekanoids channel if you can. That really does help me if you do subscribe to the channel. But as I say, the performance of this, no issues at all, and it's got a beefy enough processor in here to really run all of the applications you're going to throw at it, and including doing that dual camera recording as well. That's down to the processing power of the Samsung Galaxy S4 that is capable of doing that. Now the Geekbench has finished running, and you can see here that we've got a score of 3,179, a very, very good score, exceptional score. You're not going to have any issues with performance on the Samsung Galaxy S4. So that's covered off the sort of hardware, my impressions about how it feels in the hand, how it's actually been performing day to day, and about the performance of the mobile phone. I'm going to be actually covering a lot more off in the next sections coming up. But before I move on, I'm going to give you guys and girls the opportunity just to sort of ask some questions. Before I do take some questions, I'll just leave you with a little advert, and I'll be straight back to answer some of the questions that you're putting up in the comment section. So I'm just scanning through these questions, and we have got so many questions. It's really quite sort of hard to very hard indeed to find all of these questions. So let's try and find the latest ones. So many of you come into the live broadcast, and I can't thank you enough. Dominic Slapper X has said he hears that there's two versions of the Samsung Galaxy S4. Is that true? And yes, there are two versions. There's one with a quad-core processor and one with an octa-core processor as well. So there are two different versions, and depending on where you are located, depends or determines what actual model you get. Almost Cared asks, does the phone get slippy in the hand after using it for a while? Some people are complaining that it gets slippy. It has got a slippery feel to it. Let me just grab the mobile phone again. Now, it admittedly, it has got a very, very shiny back, and I suppose if you suffer from sort of sweaty hands, or perhaps you use hand lotion, that might well move across onto the back of the device. And if that does happen, then yeah, it would have a slippery feel to it. But I think in general use, it's absolutely fine. I don't find it slippery at all. Even when I get hot, and we've just sort of started getting a bit of hotter weather now in the UK, and I don't think it feels slippery at all really, but it could do depending on sort of how moist your hands are, if that makes sense. James Ely asks, would you recommend us upgrading from a Galaxy S3 to this or not? Is it worth the money? That's a great question. The Galaxy S3 was and still is a fantastic smartphone. I think the big differences between this and the Galaxy S3, and I would say only upgrade if you care about these differences, is I think there's a good improvement in the camera and the video recording quality, and also the dual recording where you can record from the two cameras at the same time. I think the screen resolution is absolutely fantastic. Having full HD resolution on a smartphone, so 1920 by 1080 resolution, this is the same resolution as I run on my 24-inch monitors in my editing room on a 5-inch screen. Is very, very nice indeed. And then I also think just the step up in performance, it's only noticeable if you're doing really high-end stuff and playing a lot of games perhaps, but those three things are worth upgrading for. If you're not fussed about those, then don't upgrade. You can't do anything more with this than you could with the Galaxy S3, albeit you can do a few things a little bit better, especially when it comes to the camera. So if you care about those things, then yes, definitely worth upgrading. Next one I'm going to answer is Liam Groves asks, and this is a really good question. You probably noticed that I have a live wallpaper on here. This little guy here, Spider-Man, actually moves around in the background as I scroll through my icons. And he's asked, does having a live wallpaper affect battery life? Well, yes it does, but not a great deal. I've had this Spider-Man one on for about 3 days, and I probably noticed about a 2, maybe 3%, maybe 4% difference in battery life. So hardly any difference at all, but there is a little bit of difference because it's moving things around all the time on the screen. The next one, eCartman12, has just asked, how does the camera compare to the iPhone 5 and to the Galaxy S3? Well, I just covered off, it is a big improvement on the Galaxy S3. I think there's a lot more clarity there, a lot more detail in the photos, and I also think the depth of field is managed a lot better. How does it compare to the iPhone 5? Does it beat the iPhone 5? Well, I think for video, they're roughly about the same when it comes to colour accuracy and contrast and detail, roughly about the same quality. This is the Galaxy S4 compared to the iPhone 5 I'm talking about. When it comes to photos, the iPhone 5 is very, very well respected, myself included. I love the iPhone 5 camera. The quality on this has surpassed, for me, the quality of the iPhone 5 photos. It does better depth of field, and I think it gives a lot more detail. The colour takes a little bit of getting used to. The colour matching isn't quite the same as on the iPhone 5, not quite, but it is good enough, and the actual detail, especially in darker areas, I think more than makes up for it. But that's just my experience of this. I haven't really tested it in low light, I'll be honest with you on that, so I can't comment on how it performs in low light. I know some of the guys on YouTube have done low light comparison tests, so I would check out those videos if you're worried about low light photography or video. So I hope that's answered a lot of your questions. I'm going to show you a little bit more of some of the software and applications now. Before I do, I will just take another short break, and then I will show you some of these extra features that Samsung have packed in to the Galaxy S4. So back to the video of the Galaxy S4, and I wanted to show you the camera app first of all, and then I'll take some questions about the photography aspects and features, and also about the video features of the Galaxy S4, so please do ask those in the comment section. Now this is the camera interface, and you can see here on the right hand side we're in auto mode at the moment, and we've got two icons here. We can go straight direct to recording video, or we can take a photo. So you don't switch between modes, you've got these icons here all the time. And then you've got a mode button down here, and if you push this mode button you can choose between auto, beauty face, best photo, best face, sound and shot, drama, animated photo, rich tone, eraser, panorama, sports and nighttime shot. And these are like scene modes. Or you can of course use auto mode, which is what we're in at the moment. And then just here up the top we can switch between the front facing and the back facing camera. So we're on the back facing camera at the moment. If I switch, you'll see the front facing camera pop up, and this is my hand and the camera that's recording this sort of down view on the Galaxy S4. And then we've got some settings. When we tap on this we get access to quick settings, but then we can also go into the full settings as well. And this shows you what you can change for the photography settings. So we can change the photo size, burst shot on or off, face detection on or off, metering type, ISO, anti-shake and auto night detection. That is it as far as settings go for photography. Then we can go over to video, and then we can change the video size to full HD, and then we can drop it down in resolution as we see fit. I've been recording just in HD. And then the first two videos that I published on the Geekanoids channel were using the dual video recording feature. And when you have it in dual video recording, you can't switch video stabilisation on. This is only available when you aren't using the dual cameras. So the video stabilisation seems to make a little bit of difference in the video that I captured, in the third video that I actually showed you the capabilities of the Galaxy S4 on the Geekanoids channel. And again, don't forget to check out those camera tests that I did, because they really do show you how capable this phone is. And then we've got general settings as well. We've got GPS tagging, review features, volume key to use as a zoom key, timer features, white balance, exposure value, and also guidelines across the screen. So plenty of different settings that we can make. And then we've got this dual video feature, and what this does is it actually pops up. We're in dual screen mode at the moment, so this is the black, or if I just lift this up you can see the paper underneath, so that's the rear facing camera being used at the same time as the front facing camera. And we can change how that appears as well. So at the moment we're on split screen or dual screen, and we can change it to cubism, so it puts it in this corner here, and to fisheye, and we've got a little simple window, a heart shape, and then we've got instant pic, looks like a Polaroid picture, and then oval blur and stamp. When I popped on that Polaroid picture one, I nearly broke into song actually. And then we can make this disappear, this little pop-up drawer disappear, and whilst we're recording we can actually switch modes. So I can switch these different modes whilst I'm recording video, and I can even reposition and resize the front facing camera video, and you can do all of this whilst you're recording, and even records this moving around. So if I move it from corner to corner, that will actually be recorded in the final video. So there's some really nice features on the Galaxy S4 camera, and I've just been so pleased with how it's been performing. The actual quality of the video has been absolutely brilliant. Now I'm going to just pop this into the gallery, and I just want to show you some of the photos I took as well, because I've been so pleased with how this has actually been producing photos for me. So let's pop back over to that other camera, and you can see this running through just a slideshow of some of the photos that I've actually taken, and some of the videos as well. Now what you're seeing here is just my setup that I use for recording. These are my bobbleheads. I will zoom into some of these in a short while. This is a video preview, it's just going to continue through the slideshow. And these are the videos I took when I actually had the image stabilization switched on. Again, you can see these on the Geekanoids channel. And this is showing some of the dual mode recording. We've got split screen, and then background to some more photos. And the detail in these are really good, and the colour accuracy really good as well. My favourite colour is orange, as a lot of you probably know. And the colour on those shelves, I'll actually show you that one close up, is brilliant, absolutely superb. Let me just pause that slideshow. I want to pop into, which one did I want to go into? I want to actually go into a couple of these photos and just show you the detail. So here, this one, the actual orange on the shelves is very well coloured, and the detail on the photo, if I zoom in, just look at that. It is just so good. It is just superb. Let me pop into this one here. This is showing the depth of field. These are my little Domo figures, and you can see this one's pin sharp at the front, and then we've got a nice gradation and out of focus blur going off to the right hand side. And then this is a sideways view of a Xbox 360 controller, and then if I go across to this one, which is a coin, and again the detail that is picked up is absolutely brilliant. I just can't fault the camera. It's just surpassed all of my expectations. Now that dual camera video mode as well, I thought that was a gimmick first of all, but the actual use of it is brilliant, because while you're recording video, it will actually capture from the front facing camera and see your reaction. So if you're doing reaction videos or vlogs, it is great for that sort of thing, and I can see myself using it a lot. I really can see myself using this for the vlogs and as my compact camera. It really is that good. So anyway, before I move on to some of the apps and features, I want to take some more questions. So if you've got any questions, get posting them now, and I'll try and answer as many as I can. So let's just take a little scroll down and have a look at these questions. So we've got one here from Skittles the Cool. How does the weight compare to the iPhone 5? Well, I'm not going to do a scientific test here. I'm not going to get my scales out, but just in the hand. Okay. I would say that they feel roughly about the same weight, but the iPhone 5, because of its construction, feels a little bit more solid, but the actual weight is very, very similar. The Explosive Gamer asks, does it fit in your pocket or do you have to put it in a bag? It fits into a normal jeans pocket fine, so absolutely fine. Pro Benja 5, really good question. How many frames per second are the 1080p videos? They're 30 frames per second. And Conal Daily asks, how quick is it to take a picture straight after the app is opened? Shall we have a look? Let's test that. So straight after the app is opened. So I haven't got the camera app open at the moment, and we're going to open the camera app. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's taken the picture. So about 4 to 5 seconds. Let's do that again. From the time, this is going to be from the time I actually tap the camera app. Let's do this one more time. So tap 1, 2, 3, 4, picture 5. So yeah, about 5 seconds to open the app and actually take a picture, which is a little bit slow, but not too bad. I don't think that's unacceptable. Let's take some more questions. Let me just scroll down. This list is scrolling quite quick. Right, let's answer this one. One Xeon has said I didn't answer his question. Please do ask it again. It's very difficult to scroll down on this new control room to answer all of the questions in turn. So please do feel free to ask that again. Khalid Arabiat, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name right. What's your opinion? Galaxy S4 or HTC One? Well, that is a very, very sort of difficult question to answer, because it really depends on what you're looking for in the smartphone. Now, I'll tell you what I like about the Galaxy S4 over the HTC One. I prefer the screen on this. I think the screen on the Galaxy S4 is better than the HTC One. I prefer the camera on this. I think the camera is much, much better than the HTC One, purely because of the amount of detail it captures. I also like the fact that you can change the back. If you scratch the back up, you can change it. You can change the battery. You can add additional memory, and I think the performance on this is a little bit better. Now down to personal preferences. The build quality on the HTC One is definitely more robust. Or not more robust, that's the wrong term. The build quality is more aesthetically pleasing and it feels nicer in the hand. I think HTC did a fantastic job of using the technology that they had to produce a better feeling smartphone and a more solid smartphone. But there are some things that you give up because it's a unibody design. You can't get into the battery, you can't add additional memory. If that matters to you, then you're going to be looking at the Galaxy S4. If you're not worried about that, if you're happy with what you're given by the manufacturer, then the HTC One might be a better choice. But I think the performance on this is a little bit better, so I'd probably choose this. And one of the other things I struggle with the HTC One, with their new Sense overlay, I think that they did a fantastic job with this version. The HTC One was brilliant to use. I really enjoyed my review time with it, and Sense didn't get in the way as much as it did with previous versions. But I think the TouchWiz interface is just a little bit lighter and a little bit easier to deal with, so I just prefer it. Not a great deal, but I just prefer it that little bit. It's got that edge on the HTC One for me, but maybe that's different for you. So I hope that's answered your question. Now, before I move on to the next section, I just want to say a big thank you to Carphone Warehouse again. Carphone Warehouse supplied me this as a review unit. This is one of the very early review units, and I had it before it actually came out to launch, so a big thank you to them for giving me this early so I could get some hands-on time with it. You can check out Carphone Warehouse on the website address you can see on your screen, carphonewarehouse.com, and just a big thank you to them for making this video possible. So I'm going to take one more question and then I'm going to show you some more of the apps and features. So let's take one more question. Let's have a little scroll down. Well, actually I'm going to take a couple of questions. Watch 3200 has asked Sony Xperia S camera or Samsung Galaxy S4. Definitely the Galaxy S4, much better camera in my opinion. Again, the detail just seems to be there with this. So, but the Xperia S, still a great camera. Still a great camera. Almost cared, is there a big loss in quality with zoom? Yes, there is. You do lose quality. It's almost just like you're cropping into the photo. So you do lose quality. And eCartman 12 again. Now that the screen size is almost exactly the same as the original Galaxy Note, does the S4 feel as big or does it feel smaller? This feels smaller. Definitely feels smaller. And then I'll take one more. Which I've already covered, but I will just do it again. One Xeon. Dave, how have you found the battery life compared to the iPhone 5? Much better. I think 25 to 40% battery life at the end of the day after medium to heavy use. So I found this much better. So I'm going to actually switch back to the overhead camera and I want to show you some more of the features of the Galaxy S4. So I want to cover off really some of the ones that captured my attention and just share with you my thoughts on whether they're gimmicky or whether Samsung did the right thing by including them in this smartphone. Now the first one I want to cover off is S Health, and S Health has a normal application that you can launch, or it does have widgets which update here. Now I use one of these little gadgets. I use one of these, which is a Fitbit, and what a Fitbit does is it clips onto my belt and it tracks things like the amount of steps I've taken, the amount of floors I've climbed, the time and the amount of steps here and the actual distance covered, so 3.05 miles today. And what S Health tries to do is to actually track how far you've been running or walking and what sort of exercise you've been taking, and it does it through the S Health application. These are just the widgets, but if you tap on one it actually takes you through to the application and you can click start and it will start tracking your steps. And you can see here my goal 10,000 steps. I only used this for part of the day whilst I've been working, and it tracked 2,898 steps. During that same period my Fitbit that I showed you a short while ago tracked 2,800 steps. So they're roughly about the same. Now you can skip through the days to previous days and skip forwards, and you can also access a graph which shows you your progress. And if I go back, you can also bring up a menu here which allows you to switch between walking mate, exercise mate, which is for sort of more intense exercise, perhaps running, or maybe you're doing an aerobic class, etc. And then you've also got food tracker where you can actually track the food that you've consumed, and you can add breakfast, lunch, dinner and other, and it lets you know how many calories you've consumed throughout the day. And then we've got a comfort level which just shows you preset what your comfort level is, and it shows you what the current temperature is outside, for example, or your environmental information. And then also your weight. So this is my weight, 5'9". Yes, I am short. I never reached the 6 foot mark, 150 pounds, and you can update this and it keeps a track of your weight as well. And then you've got a settings tab. Now what I will say is I thought this was a gimmick, but having used it, it is brilliant. I think they did a great job including this with the Samsung Galaxy S4. And the only downside is you have to remember to click start. Whereas my Fitbit tracks what I'm doing all the time, S Health doesn't. Unless you click start, it does not track, and it does drain battery as well. So if I left that going all day, I'd probably still get a full day's use out of the Samsung Galaxy S4, but you do have to remember to set that going. Now I want to show you a couple more apps. I want to show you Watch On, Now Watch On I've had mixed feelings with. This is meant to give you a TV guide of what's actually on in your area, and it doesn't do a brilliant job. I didn't get the reason that they've done this. I thought it was going to be more of a sky guide, for example. What it does do is it does allow you to control your TV, and in my case my Skybox. So as a universal remote control, I think it works really well. So a nice feature that half works, or a nice app that half works but doesn't quite do it. So let's just pop back out to the home screen again, and then I want to show you Samsung apps. I'm going to show you these fairly quickly. Samsung apps is similar to the Google Play Store, but this is their own collection of apps, and they've got staff picks and charts, and you can make purchases from here. And we've also got categories that we can choose from as well. So it's just very similar to the Play Store, but these are like Samsung app picks. And then we've got Samsung Hub. This is also available as a widget as well, so it will live update on one of your home screens. Oh, there's been an update in since I actually looked at this. So we will move on. I'll just show you the widget over here. What it basically does is it gives you access to music and videos, and you can flick through various tabs, and it gives you recommendations, and you can gain access to a whole library of videos, music, games, books and learning things, so that you can actually consume those on the device itself. And the app that received an update 2 days ago and another update already is just a full-on app rather than a widget. And then we've got Samsung Link, and again I'm not going to show you this in action, but this allows you to actually push content out from your phone and sort of synchronise it with tablets and laptops and smart TVs. So a nice additional app to communicate with other Samsung devices. And then we've got S-Voice. Now S-Voice is similar to Siri, so we're going to pop that on and I'm going to test this. So, what is the weather like in London today? There we go. So it didn't tell me what was in London, it told me what the weather was like in Folkestone. So it failed on that respect. We'll try it one more time. What is the weather in London today? Let's see if it does better this time.
Make sure you've got your sunglasses today.
There we go. So it's got a bit of humour. Make sure you've got your sunglasses today. 14 degrees in London. So this is Samsung's alternative to Siri on the iOS platform, and it does a pretty good job. I personally don't use it, but it is there if you want to use it. Then we've got Translator. This is quite good actually, and I'm going to switch cameras to show you this one. I'll show you the interface first of all, and you can translate. At the moment we've got English to Spanish, and you can actually download HD versions of the voice packs so that you get better results. And you can either type in text or you can actually speak it, and then it will translate from the languages that you select. And we've got Portuguese, French, German, Italian or Spanish as options that you can choose from. So let me just switch cameras, and I'll give you a demonstration of this because I want to hold it up to the microphone as I do it, so that you get to hear the result. So if there's any Spanish people watching this at the moment, you tell me if this is accurate. Here we go. Clear my voice. Hello and welcome to the Geekanoids review of the Samsung Galaxy S4. Do you think this looks like a really good smartphone? Now it's done the recognition. I'll just hold that up there. So it actually shows it as text, and then we can play it back. So here we go. Let's play it back.
Hola y recepción al friki molesta el estudio de la Galaxia S4 de Samsung. ¿Usted piensa en esto? Parece un teléfono elegante, realmente bueno.
Did it do it right? You tell me. I don't speak Spanish, so you've got to tell me. I'll just put that there so you can see the text. Did it do that translation correctly? Was it accurate? I've got no idea, but it's impressive. I like the feature, and I think if I was travelling around Europe, that would be very useful indeed. Now, I can't demonstrate this next thing on the camera. There's this air view thing where you swipe your hand across. I don't see the point of it. I think if I'm swiping my hand across, I may as well be touching the screen. There's also something where you look away from videos and it actually pauses the video when you look away. That's a nice feature. I actually like that feature. I think that's a very good one. There's also one where you look up and down to scroll through perhaps websites, and I don't see the point of that either. And because I wear glasses, the glasses did sometimes fall it. So the video pausing worked absolutely fine, but the looking up and down to control pages, it was okay when I had my glasses off, but when I put my glasses on, then it didn't work quite so well. And then I just want to show you one more little thing, which is I think is a really nice addition to the user interface, and that's this little pop-out drawer. You can see just a little arrow just on the side here, and if I tap that, a little drawer comes up and it's populated with applications. You can edit that as well, and we've got chat on Chrome, email, gallery, internet messaging and S-Memo. It just gives you quick access to these particular apps wherever you are. So you could be in another application, tap that, and then you can just quickly get back into another application without having to go out to your home screen. So I think that's a really nice feature, nice additional feature. So I'm going to take some more questions. Before I take some more questions, I'm just going to run a very short break, and then I'll be back with you in like 30 seconds. 30 seconds maximum. Okay, we are back, and let's take some more questions about the Samsung Galaxy S4. Now, I just want to thank everyone for coming into the live broadcast again. It's absolutely brilliant that you all tune in to ask these questions, and after I've taken these questions, I'll just show you a few more apps on the Galaxy S4, and then I'll let you know my final opinion. So, let's have a look at the questions. Is it worth upgrading? This is from Jesse Peace. Is it worth upgrading from the Galaxy Nexus? I think it's the Galaxy Nexus is a real raw sort of vanilla flavour of Android. Vanilla flavour. I'm thinking of my ice creams. Is a real raw and untouched version of Android. Whereas with the Galaxy S4, you've obviously got TouchWiz overlaid on top. So it depends whether you like TouchWiz. If you don't mind the different user interface, then yes, it is a worthy upgrade. Next question is Matthew Bissell has asked, aren't some of these features coming to the S3 by the end of the year? And yes, they are. I don't know which ones they are, but I would imagine they are more the app-based features. I don't think we're going to get Air View. Maybe we will, or any of the sort of gestures. Again, maybe we will, but I think it's going to be more like S-Health maybe, and a few of the app-based features coming to the S3 by the end of the year. I might be wrong. They may be able to squeeze out the dual camera video recording if the processing power is good enough. I really don't know, but there are some coming. What else have we got? ProBenja5 has said S-Translator only works for individual words and not for sentences. Well, I just did it with a sentence and it seemed to translate that fine, so I beg to differ. I think it works for what I spoke there. I think it translated it very well indeed. Next one is from Almost Cared. How do you feel about the S4 coming with just 8.8 gigabytes of free data despite it being labelled as a 16 gigabyte device? I know this happens with all phones, but 7.2 gigabytes is a crazy amount that has already been taken up. Yet there has been a lot of talk that over half of the capacity of the 16 gigabyte Galaxy S4 is already consumed and taken up by pre-installed applications. But you can delete them if you want. You don't have to have them all there. It is annoying, I must admit it is annoying, but I suppose the saving grace is you can pop the back off the Galaxy S4 and you can actually install a micro SD card up to 64 gigabytes in capacity, and then you've got plenty of space for your photos and videos, etc. You can't do that with some other phones. The HTC One, you can't add memory. The iPhone 5, yes, you can buy a 64 gigabyte version, but you can't add memory. So it is annoying, but you can delete some apps if you really don't want them on there. Rena Barber, I have answered this question a little bit earlier, but I will answer it again. Is the Samsung Galaxy S4 better than the HTC One or the other way round? Watch back earlier in the video. It really depends if you're looking for build quality and that solid body, or being able to swap the battery out, a better screen, a little bit better performance, and in my opinion a better user interface. Christos0010, what about luggish TouchWiz? I don't think it lags at all on this. I think it works absolutely fine. You're either a fan of TouchWiz or you're not, the same as you like Sense from HTC or you don't, or you like iOS or you hate it. If you don't like TouchWiz, don't buy Galaxy S4. Simple as that. But I find it absolutely fine. I don't find any issues at all with lag on this at the moment. Maybe if I really loaded it up with more apps, then maybe it would start lagging a bit more, but I found it really good so far. So I want to show you some of the other applications that I've been using. So let's switch back over to the overhead cam, and I just want to show you just a few of the apps that I've been using on the Galaxy S4 in my review period. Now I'm not going to go into all of them, but I have been using Instagram, and the Instagram app is a big thing for me because I use Instagram a lot, and it is just exactly the same as the iOS version, with the exception that it's on a bigger screen, and it works nice and fluidly, scrolls nice and quickly, no issues at all. That's a nice photo, double tap to like, it's just very responsive. So a great experience from Instagram. Let's go back, and then we've got my Twitter app, which is Falcon Pro, and again very good application, and you can see here it scrolls nice and smoothly. We get previews in line of videos on this particular app, and it's just a real nice application and a nice experience again. Let's go back out to that home screen again, and then we've also got Subway Surf, which is a game that I quite like playing, and I'm not going to be able to play it very well whilst I'm speaking, but let's give it a go because it's a nice colourful game. We'll keep the sound off for now because the microphone won't pick it up. Actually, we'll try a little bit of sound. Let's go for a little bit of sound, and then you'll get to see the game in action. And it works very well. It's just a very nice colourful screen to play this sort of game on. I'm going to fail in a minute because I'm not really concentrating on the actual game, but you get the idea. And the sound's great. The sound coming out of those speakers works absolutely fine. No issues at all. And you get the idea. I'm not going to play that anymore. A great game, and again the Galaxy S4 lends itself well to gaming. Very good. Now one last app I want to show you just very quickly, and this is just because of the beautiful graphics, but we've got the Yahoo Weather App. We've got London on here, and this pulls in pictures from Flickr and lays them on a background of the app, and then we've got the overlay with the weather information. We can scoot this round into landscape mode, and it gives you even more details about the weather in that area. And let's pop it back round into portrait, and then we can go through to other countries. So I've got Baguio City in there, and then I've got San Francisco, and let's add one in. Tell me where you are in the country, and we'll go across to this screen and we will edit locations and we will add a location. Somebody type in where you actually are in the country, and I will add this in, and we'll see what the weather is like in your part of the world and see how sort of accurate this is. So somebody give me a place name. While I'm waiting for one to come up, let's just go back, and I'll just go back across to the actual graphics and show you the graphics again. So for example, in San Francisco, 16 degrees at the moment. We've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday forecasts in here as well. And then Baguio City, again 19 degrees, Wednesday through to Saturday forecasts, and then back round to London. And it's just a really nice application. I love the way that when you go round into that other view, you still you get all that extra information. Let's just show you that again. So we get all that extra information about the current weather. It's just a beautiful, beautiful app. And I know it's not taxing the performance of the Galaxy S4, but I just wanted to show you what I've been using over the past week. I just really like this app. And of course, you've still got that little pop-out drawer. So this is what I demonstrated earlier. I can quickly get to one of these apps just by popping that drawer out and then tapping on the icon. So we got here, Almost Cared, Cork in Ireland. So we're going to add Cork in Ireland in. So edit locations. And then we're going to go Cork. Nice keyboard as well. It's searching. There we go. Cork Islands come up. So we're going to add that one in. And then we'll go back one. And we'll see what the weather is like in Cork. And again, it pulls a picture in there or a photo that should be associated with the area. So Almost Cared. If you recognise that photo, please do let us know. It's 9 degrees in Cork. 13 degrees on Wednesday. 13 on Thursday, 12 on Friday, 11 on Saturday, so it gives you a nice sort of update on the weather in that particular area. We've also got somebody in Fresno, so let's add Fresno in. This is the last one I'm going to do, so shout out to Renee Barber in Fresno, and let's just test this. Fresno, California, or Fresno, Texas, or Ohio. There's lots of Fresnos. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure if I can wait for my chat to update to see which Fresno you're in. You're Renee Barber, so I'm going to educated guess here that you're in Fresno in Spain because of your name. Apologies if you're not. I'm going to go for Spain, so we'll see what the weather looks like in Spain. And here we go. Is it going to put a picture in? It hasn't pulled. Yep, it's pulled a local picture in as well. And we've got 10 degrees today, and then the forecast down the bottom. So a little bit of fun just to show you the Yahoo Weather App. Let's go back out to the main home screen, and then of course we've got the YouTube app, which is an app that is of interest to everyone. You're watching this on YouTube, so you should be interested in the YouTube app. And let's pick a video just to play back a little bit, and I'm going to play back a bit of Chris. I watch Chris's videos all the time, so why not? So we've got an advert come up, and we shall skip the advert. There we go. And then we will skip round into full screen. And you can see the absolute glorious colour of the screen. And the audio on it, very, very clear indeed. And there we go. So thanks for that, Chris. You know what the thumb means. Let's go back out to the home screen. So enough of showing you the apps. Let's take a few more questions, and then I'm going to tell you my sort of final opinion about the Galaxy S4. So, did you already talk about the keyboard? Yaki 996. Well, briefly, when I was searching for a new location there, you saw the keyboard pop up. The keyboard on this, absolutely fine. It's well spaced. The screen's very sensitive, so it does a really, really good job of on-screen keyboard and touch typing. Some people like physical keyboards still, but the actual keyboard on this is absolutely fine to use. And let's have a look at some more questions. We've got lots of places coming now. I'm sorry I couldn't do more places on the weather app, but it would have dragged on for other people watching. Connell Daly has asked, how is the Pentile display as sharp as the One? Well, I'm looking at this now, and on previous Pentile displays you could really see the way they were constructed. On this, I don't think you can. It just looks so clear. I'm going to see if I can get my overhead camera just to really focus in closely on this. This is a very pin sharp display. I don't think you can fault it really. Let me just give you some angles as well. So we've got different angles. It is just a brilliant display. So great question. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. I'm certainly not disappointed with the display on the Galaxy S4. I really can say with conviction that you will not be disappointed with the display, unless you have got such bionic vision that you're going to grumble about 1920 by 1080 resolution and the really eye-popping colours that the Galaxy S4 produces. Next question. Let's do a little bit of scrolling and see if I've missed any questions. So we've got one here from Red Robot TV. In your personal opinion, Dave, from what you've experienced so far, do you prefer the Galaxy S4 or the Note 2 overall? Size is clearly one of the distinguishing features. Well, when I had the Note 2 and I gave it a fair try, I wasn't convinced about the Note initially because of the size, and I grew to love it, but I didn't use the S Pen, and that's the differentiating factor between this and the Notes. The fact that you've got the S Pen that you can pull out and make notes on your screen. I didn't use it. I didn't see why I would want a stylus. I want something I can just pick up, type my notes in, or talk to the device and translate it, or not translate, or dictate into the device. I don't want to get a pen out and start scribbling on the screen and making notes. That's just me. If you like a pen and you like the S Pen features, then go for the Galaxy Note 2, or maybe wait for the Galaxy Note 3 to come out. But for me, I'm just looking for a smartphone, and this is the best of both worlds. A large screen, a high resolution, really touch sensitive screen, and a joy to use. And I don't miss the S Pen because I didn't use it. So I'm just being honest with you here. Didn't use it at all. Sheikh Nabaik, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. How are the heat levels whilst gaming? It gets a little bit warm, tiny bit warm, but it doesn't get hot. You can just feel it sort of warming up a little bit on the back, but no problem at all. It is just brilliant for gaming as well. Devnath RV has asked, will there be a big difference in performance between the octo-core version and the quad-core Snapdragon version, which is the one I've got here? Well, I haven't personally used it, the octa-core version, but I have seen some people do benchmarks, and they're very close. There's about 100 points in it, I think, from memory. When I saw those videos, hardly any difference. So for there to be 100 points difference, you're looking at maybe about 3%, maybe 2 to 3% difference in performance. ProBenger5 has asked, do you think Samsung should change something in the design of their smartphones? Well, it's worked for them previously. There's the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think the same applies to this. The design's fine, so why change it? They've moved on a little bit from the type of materials they've been using. I'll come on to that in a little while. So I think that they might move on next time around, but for now I think they made the right decision keeping the design as it is. And I will take one more question from Mr. Svika 007. You got the last question on this video. How it feels in the hand compared to the iPhone. I've got the iPhone here. The iPhone is a lot sharper on the edges, a little bit less comfortable to use, but obviously smaller, and it's easier to reach all of the corners of the screen when you're using it. So a lot easier to get to those corners. In comparison, this is a lot smoother. It's not slippery. It's obviously bigger, and you're going to struggle reaching all of the corners one-handed. You are going to struggle, but you can manage, and I use it. I've got a bit more stretch in my right hand, but I can just about reach the corners using my other hand, and it just feels a little bit nicer in the hand. Not quite as good build quality maybe. The iPhone 5 feels a little bit more solid, but then that's to do with the materials used. But the grade of the plastic and the grade of the material used on the edges of the Samsung Galaxy S4 and all of the other features, which I'll come on to very shortly, more than make up for it. It feels in the hand, a direct answer to your question, I think this feels a little bit better in the hand than the iPhone 5 because I've lost that sharpness on the edges. So just a tiny bit better, but very, very small difference between the two. So I'm really sorry I can't answer any more questions because we're coming to the end of this particular broadcast. I do want to say just one big thank you again to Carphone Warehouse for sending me this out to review. And just in closing, this is a review, so I want to give you my final opinion on the Galaxy S4. When I saw this announced, a lot of the features I thought, gimmicky, never use them, too big, but I did want to obviously test it because of the high-res screen and the performance and the camera. I wanted to test everything about it. I test mobile phones day in, day out, and I was really, really keen to actually test the Galaxy S4. What I really liked about it is the screen, 1920 by 1080 resolution. That's one of the highlights. The other highlight is the camera, and I'll tell you why. I'm really into my photography. I do carry a compact camera around or a DSLR, but not all the time. And the performance of this camera is better than the iPhone 5. The iPhone 5S or the iPhone 6 might surpass this, but at the moment this beats it in terms of clarity and depth of field. Also, the audio captured alongside good quality video is better. The app selection is a non-argument now. It used to be that you could only get the apps on iOS, but now most of the mainstream apps, if not all of them, are available on Google Android. The transition period, if you're using an iPhone 5 or an iPhone at the moment and you want to move across to an Android device, it will take you maybe a couple of days or a week to get used to it. But overall, I think the transition's very smooth now. You soon get used to just going into the apps that you use. And most people, and I'm saying most, not all, but using myself as an example, I probably use about maybe between 10 and 12 apps on a regular basis, and all of them are available on Android. I love the way this feels. I love the performance. The battery life's won me over as well. So just to recap, the three main points I would say on this that will really make this a big recommendation is the high-res screen, the camera, and the battery life. I'm going to add a fourth on, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but the app selection as well. Don't let that put you off of the Galaxy S4 if you're currently an iOS user. I've really enjoyed the Galaxy S4. It's surpassed my expectations, and I will be using this as my daily driver. In about 2 weeks' time I'm going to get hold of one. This one is a review model, so it's going back, but I will get one for myself, and this will become my daily phone. I will always still have an iPhone because I test products, and I will of course cover the iPhone 5S or the iPhone 6, and who knows if the iPhone